This version of the Card Players by Paul Cézanne is one of the great highlights of the Courtauld Cézanne collection. It forms part of a series of 5 paintings depicting peasant card players that Cézanne worked on at the beginning of the 1890s. It was not a subject that he had ever depicted before, and it proved to be a major preoccupation of his throughout much of that decade. This painting from the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York seems to be the first version of the card player theme that Cézanne painted. It shows 4 figures arranged around a farmhouse table, but unlike card-playing scenes from the art of the past, Cézanne eliminates all anecdotal detail. The figures seem locked in their own world, not engaging with each other. There's no drinks on the table. This isn't a rowdy tavern scene, as one might expect from, for example, Dutch genre painting of similar subjects. Instead, Cézanne presents a monumental composition, a composition which is about these figures locked in contemplation. And there is for Cézanne, I think, a sense in which the local peasants of Aix-en-Provence provided the human equivalent of the solid monumentality of the landscape around that area that he also painted so much. The Card Player series was a major project for Cézanne, and unusually for the artist, he produced a large body of preparatory works for the scenes. He seems not to have posed his peasants as a group around a table and sketched them in that way, but rather he brought the peasants into his studio individually and studied them in great detail as single figures. And this drawing from Rhode Island Museum really captures that sense of intense study. It's done mainly in pencil with just a few touches of blue watercolour, and the figure would appear on the right-hand side in the Metropolitan version of the canvas. Cézanne also, and again rarely for this artist, produced a group of oil studies for the works, trying to establish the forms and character of his card-playing peasants. And this little painting from Worcester Art Museum in Massachusetts is for the central figure who would anchor the composition of the larger card player pictures. Having produced his card player scenes showing 4 and 5 peasants arranged around a table, Cézanne then embarked upon a group of 3 pictures which refine that composition to just 2 figures facing each other across a wooden table. For at least the last 50 years, it has been thought that Cézanne worked on the biggest paintings first and then refined the composition in scale to arrive at the smallest picture, which is this one here from the Musée d'Orsay in Paris. However, recent technical research conducted at the Courtauld Institute of Art in collaboration with the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York has shown that in fact Cézanne worked in the opposite way, that he started with the smaller paintings, exploring the composition, and then scaled up in size until he arrived at the largest and most monumental expression of his subject. We've looked at these pictures using X-ray and infrared light, and that has shown the underdrawing that's visible beneath the surface of the paint. This gives us very clear evidence that he was working the composition out in the smaller paintings, and then by the time he gets to the larger works, his technique is more fluid and the composition comes to him more easily. In repeating this same composition no less than 3 times, Cézanne seems to have been seeking to refine and monumentalize his card player composition to effectively try and express this contemplative attitude of these 2 men locked in the age-old ritual of their game. The early Cézanne critic, Roger Fry, said that the pictures felt like they were something that had found their centre of gravity and could never be moved.